Good afternoon. It is such a pleasure to be here. My name is Michelle Green and today I am here to talk about ICT and learning with you. Now let's get started, shall we? Okay, so ICT and learning. These two have been in a love-hate relationship over the last few decades, but recently I think they've begun to see eye to eye. In the past, many teachers have avoided using ICT combined with learning in their classroom. Maybe it was the prospect of learning a whole new way to teach, of educating with ICT being too complicated, of it being a hindrance to learning, or perhaps less effective than it claimed to be. Regardless, studies are now showing that assumptions like those are wrong. And that in fact, the marriage of ICT and learning may be a very, very good idea. The Australian curriculum explains that ICT compatibility transforms the way that students think and learn and gives them greater control over how, where, and when they learn. Nowadays, students need to leave school highly skilled in IT, and there is strong evidence that use of ICT in the classroom can enhance learning rather than take away from it. So how can we, as teachers, contribute and combine ICT and learning into the classroom? And how can we teach students effectively in a way that prepares our students for remarkable life in the 21st century? The answer is combining learning theories with ICT capabilities. Now, I know that everyone here knows about learning theories, and probably most of us will have heard of IT or ICT capabilities, whether or not we have included them as much as we could in our lessons. But it shouldn't surprise us to learn that ICT capabilities and learning theories pair very well together. Like a good red wine and vintage cheese, they are a great pair. Let me show you just how much of a great pair they are. Now, investigation and cognition are our first pairing. This pairing is all about cognitive learning theory, that's the cognition, and how it works with the ICT capability of investigation. Cognitive learning theory is based on how the learnt is acquired rather than what is learnt. So the focus here is on the information processing itself and how that leads to the acquisition of knowledge. Cognitive theory tells us that knowledge is acquired through complex forms of learning, such as problem solving or greater levels of critical thinking or analysis. And here is where the ICT competency or capability of investigating with ICT comes into play. According to the Australian curriculum, investigating with ICT involves students learning to define and plan information searches, investigate questions, topics, or problems, locate, access, generate, organize, analyze data and information, and apply criteria to verify digital data and that same information and its sources. Phew! So right there is a lot of complex critical thinking and analysis going on. Exactly the kind of information processing activities that cognitive theory says enhances learning. Chan concurs that ICT-related exercises can develop thinking skills and facilitate critical thinking while helping students in creating meaningful knowledge and engaging them in higher order mindful thinking and learning. Further, Chan says that these cognitive tools are designed to encourage learners to use new ways to think about what they are studying. After hearing that, I don't think anyone could doubt the way that cognitive learning theory and investigation with ICT play very well together. So how would we actually enact this pairing practically in our 21st century classrooms? Because at the moment it's all theory. So what's an idea that we can actually put into practice? One way to investigate with ICT while employing cognitive learning tactics is to set students an individual task in class wherein they must use their personal devices to examine 5 different online articles which would be listed on the board from 5 different websites in order to evaluate their value. Are they credible and reliable online information sources? If yes/no, why not? Students would use online guides on the topic given to them by the teacher to complete the task, then email their answers to the teacher. Through this kind of activity, students would use ICT investigating skills and cognitive learning theory tactics together to evaluate online information and thus engage in critical, creative, and complex thinking. And don't tell me that's not something that we want our students engaging in. Moreover, by practicing validation of online sources, students learn to apply ethical protocols to their use of ICT, which is another of the required ICT competencies. All right, so our next pairing is creation and construction. This grouping is based on the constructivist learning theory and how it melds with the ICT competency of creating with ICT. So creation and construction. Constructivism means teachers are learning facilitators rather than reservoirs of knowledge.